Welcome back, everybody. I'm glad you're here. So we have a new one from Diana Ankudinova. She dropped a new one about 2 weeks ago. Apparently this was in celebration of the 85th anniversary of the birth of Vladimir Vysotsky. I don't know who that is. I had to look him up. But apparently he was a huge influence on Russian culture as a poet, as a musician, as a writer. He was just a huge cultural icon that really came into prominence and died very early, all during the Cold War. Sorry. And is very well regarded. So the anniversary of his birth is coming up, and so Diana has decided to record the song "So It Happened, the Men Rode Away." This is the official lyric video for it, and we're going to be watching that and reacting to it, because she never disappoints, and she's always fun to watch. So it's gonna be interesting to see what this is like. I do have English translations up here, so we'll be checking that out as well, and looking at these lyrics. So without any further ado, here's Diana.
Так случилось, мужчины ушли, побросали посевы до срока. Вот их больше не видно из окон, растворились в дорожной пыли. Вытекают из колоса зерна, эти слезы не сжатых полей. И холодные ветры проворно потекли с щелей. Мы вас ждем, торопите коней в добрый час. Пусть попутные ветры не бьют, а ласкают вам спины. А потом возвращайтесь скорей, и выплачут по вас. И без ваших улыбок бледнеют и сохнут рябины.
Okay. So it happened, the men rode away, dropped the crops and the vines before harvest. From the walls we can see them the farthest, disappearing with nothing to say. So the men have been called to war, or they've been called to battle. They're leaving behind their harvests, they're leaving behind their families, and they're going to fight. And this is, I guess, from the point of view of those who have been left behind watching them leave. Since the men are leaving, these are the women watching them leave, the mothers and daughters and young sons. Ears of wheat growing deaf, unattended, fields are crying for reapers to come. Winter winds blow through the holes to be mended, barely noticed by some. That's pretty interesting. Like, Russians write so bleakly, but their lyrics are just so vivid, you know, because we're seeing here, when the men are gone, there's no one there to harvest the wheat. There's no reapers to go out there and bring in the fields. The winter winds blow through holes mended. There's nobody there to repair everything, but barely noticed by some, meaning that, like, they're cold and they're miserable, but they don't notice it because they're so sorrowful that the men are gone. So here we wait. This is the chorus. Here we wait. Rush your horses along. Let our love keep you safe on your way. May the winds never beat on your backs, but caress them so slightly. Then return to our homes with a song, victorious, right? Willows weep for that day. and your smiles are awaited for making the ash trees bloom brightly. There's some imagery in there that I'm sure is very deep in Russian culture, society, I guess. That kind of like goes over my head a little bit with the ash trees bloom and stuff like that. But they're definitely like, win this war. When you come back with a song, you don't come back singing if you lost. You come back singing when you're victorious. So they want you to win, and then come back to them, not with the wind blowing you back like you can't resist it, but just gently cooling you off as you return back on your own. So it's really vivid imagery. This is really amazing. Diana's voice is just so cool here, and just so you can really hear like the emotion in it. It's really interesting to hear, because she's not playing any of her tricks or any of her talents with her voice. She's just singing this pretty straightforward, and just the emotion behind it is what's capturing really a lot of my attention right now.
Мы высоких живем в теремах, входа нет никому в эти здания. Одиночество и ожидание вместо вас поселилась в домах. Потеряла и свежесть, и прелесть белизна ненадетых рубах. Даже старые песни приелись и навязла в зубах.
So, yes, we live in our palaces swell. No one's let in or out of those mansions. Ghosts of loneliness and expectation live instead now where you used to dwell. So no one's let in or out. They don't leave. They're kind of shut in. They don't leave out. They don't go to be neighborly, but they don't let anybody else in. They don't trust anybody without their men there. So they have these huge homes, but they're filled with these ghosts of loneliness and expectation that almost become like a prison to them, right? And the white shirts you liked ever-starchy, they are now neither crisp nor fresh. They're just hanging in. They don't wash them. They don't clean them, because they just hang in the in the closet, just waiting for them to return. Songs of old, not a reason to party. They just eat at our flesh. Wow, that's just. I don't think anybody writes songs like that like Russians do. There's just something about the way Russians write that like this just gets grim and just visceral. You know, they like, it's almost like they have a lock on suffering and how to interpret suffering and how to explain it through very clear, vivid, you know, literature and lyrics. It's a great song. It's a sad song, but it's a great song.
Пусть попутные ветры не бьют, а ласкают вам спины. А потом возвращайтесь скорей, и выплачут по вас. И без ваших улыбок бледнеют и сохнут рябины. И звучит с каждым днем непрестанней вековечный надрыв причитаний отголоском старинных молитв. Мы вас встретим и пеших, и конных, утомленных, нецелых, любых. Только б не пустота похоронных, не предчувствие их. Мы вас ждем, торопите коня.
So, everything aches with one common hurt. Every day sounds the ever unfailing, age-old, gut-wrenching, heartbreaking wailing at the wall where the prayers are heard. Wow. Okay, so this is something that's being shared by the common herd. So everybody's feeling this, like the entire nation feels this, right? The entire community feels this. Every day sounds the ever unfailing, age-old, gut-wrenching, heartbreaking wailing. They're hearing the cries of the women and children that have been left behind at the wall where their prayers are heard. We shall welcome you, riding or walking, burnt, exhausted, in one piece or not. Anything but the gossip and gawking or the news he got shot. They don't care about the gossip. They don't care about the news over the radio or the news through the newspaper. They don't care about somebody like, saying he got shot but not having, they don't want bad news. They just want to see their people come back in any condition as long as they're alive, right? Riding or walking, burnt or exhausted, in one piece or not. We just want you to come back home. So talk about gut wrenching, man. That's a pretty powerful song. That's amazing. No wonder this guy is revered, man. He had a way of like really putting those emotions and those words out there, so that you really feel what it is like to be on that side of the war, waiting for the fighters to come home, waiting for the men to come home. And Diana's doing a beautiful job here. Her voice is just fantastic here, and just it's really, I've never heard her quite like this before. So, singing in the lower timbre and not using a lot of her abilities, and just singing this very straightforward with a lot of emotion in her voice, and just really putting it across. It's really awesome.
В добрый час пусть попутные ветры не бьют, а ласкают вам спины, а потом возвращайтесь скорей, и выплачут по вас, и без ваших улыбок бледнеют и сохнут рябины.
That's really cool. That's a great song. I like how it's bookended by the old band music that used to. I'm not sure what that music is. I'm sure you Russians recognize it. It's probably one of those songs like going off to war, or a patriotic song, a national anthem kind of song. Bookending that between it, but then bookending it outside of that are like the sounds of the war, the tank rolling away, or the jeeps rolling away, and really nice arrangement there, really good. So, what'd you think? Think I'm on target? Am I off? I don't know. Really, please drop me a comment and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your take on this. I just thought it was really great. I didn't know what to expect with that, and it's just really cool to hear something different and just so raw and emotional, and a tribute to this guy Vladimir Vysotsky, who sounds like somebody like you might want to get into and check out if you're interested in that kind of history. To have that kind of an impression on the culture, that they're still recognizing the anniversary of his birth decades after he's died. It's pretty cool. I think he died about 40 years ago. I'm not sure. I kind of glanced at Wiki, and I can't really remember exactly when it was, but he wasn't that old when he died. And apparently there was some controversy around it. So it's a pretty interesting tale. Probably something, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you might want to dive into it and see a lot more. He was a prolific writer, prolific poet, and musician. So there's a lot to check out there. So maybe we'll see some more in the future. In the meantime, do me a favor and please check out my stuff. I have videos up and music you've never heard. And definitely hit that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't so you can catch more of this stuff. Share this video with your friends and complete strangers. And as always, please leave me a comment. I'd love to know what you think. What you think of me. And if you have anything else that you'd like me to check out and react to, I'd love to hear it. In the meantime, I hope you guys take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Love you. Bye.